Greetings, humanity, and everyone else out there. I am Jim. This is my channel, and we are about to play Durance. It's a game that I do not get to play very often. I am very pleased to do it, to get a chance to, and so let's get to it, shall we? I have with me three wonderful players who have volunteered to leap in. Also, before we get going, I should mention this is part of Monty Cook Games' Extra Life effort this year. You should see if you want to type in the link that's on the bottom of this overlay, you can do that. Or I also threw it out in chat at some point. We'll be doing that periodically as we go. So feel free to dive in and do that. Because it is it is a very cool thing. So please go and play Extra Life. So with me today, I'm going to go around. Let's go around counterclockwise. I shall. Oh, and you know what? I've got people already mixed up. I noticed.
No, I'm Durance.
Yeah, let's call that right.
I know. I didn't notice that until we were almost there. So let's fix that. Yay! Professionalism. We got everything together here now.
These things happen.
These things do indeed happen. All right. I'm still gonna go. Screw it. I'm still gonna go counterclockwise. So Danny, hi. Tell us.
Hi.
Tell us who you are and what your favorite bit of sci-fi media is. Or
I was just writing that, but I want to be Darcy today. But
I know. Don't we all?
Yeah, I know, right? I am Danny Neary. I am from Rhode Island, and I found out Rich is from Rhode Island too, which is really cool because I've got some Rhode Island pride. So yeah, Richard. I am Imperial Scum on Twitter, but you'll see me as Drunken Geekery on Twitch here. And my favorite piece of sci-fi. So I'm going to first do two. The obvious one, because I'm a role-playing game, is Numenera, because it's my favorite fucking game to play. Oh, sorry about the swear. It is my favorite game to play. I love it. It just takes you to far out places, and it's wonderful. My favorite game to run. And then we're going to go back a little ways. My favorite piece of sci-fi media, like TV-wise, movie-wise, is Buck Rogers, because Princess Ardala was my first like real bad girl crush. She was evil and like wicked and beautiful, and the whole thing is hysterical and wonderful. So Buck Rogers all the way.
That's awesome.
I have not seen Buck Rogers for freaking ever. It's been a long time. It's the Gil Gerard version is the only one I actually remember, but that's kind of where I was with that. Awesome. And continuing around the clock, Richard, hello. Tell us, same questions.
Yeah.
Who are you? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm Richard. I'm a game designer and writer. You can see my Twitter handle there, and follow me on Twitch at my full name, Richard Adcock. Yeah, I think my like problematic fave sci-fi epic is Dune. And as far as role-playing games, Stars Without Number is something I've been into a lot recently. So yeah, kind of the spectrum there.
Cool.
And stuff to play.
Yeah, no, Dune is an interesting one. It's an interesting one to kind of sort of take apart and look at. And further, last but certainly not least, Darcy, hello. I am so glad to have you on the channel.
I am so thrilled to be here. Hello, everybody. I'm really, really excited. What a great team we have, and getting to play Durance. I love Jason Morningstar's games. Pretty much everything I've ever read, I've adored. And so to give you a little bit about me, I'm the community relations coordinator for Monty Cook Games. I'm the talky person, so I do a lot of talking, and we'll try to keep it holstered, or at least used with responsibility here. But some of my favorite, I kind of got into sci-fi late. I was like deep into fantasy, and then I was like, I'm a nerd, I should like sci-fi, and lo, I liked sci-fi. So one of the first sci-fi book I read that really hooked me was The Moat in God's Eye. And so I've always kind of been really like moved by these emotional stories and like reaching out to people who are not like us. But what I end up, so that's sort of my like respectable fave. But I really like sad space stories. I like it. I like when they're real sad. And so I guess Event Horizon is like a movie that I always really loved, space horror, right? And yeah, so I think Event Horizon is like my more recent, like, as long as everybody like dies and is sad or has possibly gone horribly turned into some other, I'm pretty into it. I also love like the Mass Effect games, you know. So gosh, I love the feels stories of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Well,
that we can make some tragedy happen.
Oh yeah, I think we're definitely aiming for that. Awesome. Yeah. No, I actually went and saw Event Horizon in the theater. I remember that. I think at the time it's because I was massively into Doctor Who, kind of still am, and it was because John Pertwee's son is in it, so it was the main reason I went to see it. And but then I just saw the whole thing. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize they could do that with sci-fi, and lo, they can. Awesome. Well, we're going to be getting into playing this in just a moment, but first I just wanted to go over the one thing we are going to be. This can be a game about terrible people doing terrible things. So just so you folks will know, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for you, any of the players can type in an X in the Zoom video chat, and we'll back up and we'll do something else. If something happens that you're okay having in the game, but you don't want a graphic description of it, you can type an N in Zoom, and we'll fade to black on it, or we'll put it behind a veil. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. And we'll sort of keep an eye out as we're getting into things, into that subject. And finally, if you're in the midst of intense role-playing and you think we might be worried that you're really upset out of character, you can put an O in the chat to let us know you're okay and that we're good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we describe something, and then we think, well, that might be a little too much. Then everyone else can respond to that and let us know that we're still doing okay. And so those are the tools we are using. And so without further ado, I guess we're going to get to it. Awesome. I haven't had a chance to play this game in for freaking ever, as evidenced by the fact that I'm going to be consulting the book quite a bit. So that's a thing that's going to happen. And that's the end of my script. So now it's just Jim rambles and we figure things out, which is, to be fair, most of what my games are like. So let's take a look here. I also have some ambient stuff to throw behind us while we're making our decisions here. So I had, before we started, I had folks pick out the sort of details, things that are true about the planet and the colony. This is a game where essentially the idea is that the authority back home, Earth, wanted to develop a new area, a new planet, and why not, to save money, get convicts to do it for us. So beyond the Great Rift, they found this planet. They sent folks out to it. They did a survey, and there were a lot of surveys going on, and they were very kind of shoddily done, and so only about half the things they reported are true. Same is true of the colonial record. Once they started setting the colony up out there, the reports they're sending back, now that they're out there, they're committed, and that's about it. So they wanted they had this idea of a place where eventually the convicts or their children would become citizens of this new colony that they have that would be prosperous and bring in a huge cash flow, and that's maybe not quite happening, and this is the story of that. Let me also crank that again. Let me know if there are any audio issues, folks listening right now, so that way I can try to adjust things on the fly. I for some reason have this deep embedded desire to play music under absolutely everything. I'm going to try to suppress it at times when needed, but we'll see how it goes. So let's see. We've got so the things that are true is the atmosphere in the atmosphere survey is that the atmosphere is perfect, sweet breathable air, and a human-rated mix of nitrogen, oxygen, and argon, just like home. So air, yay, good. Air is always good.
Love me some argon.
Yeah, I try. You try to pick up some down at the drugstore, but they're always out. Also, the other thing that's true about the planet, hydrology. The hydrology is excellent. Surface water is abundant and drinkable, just like home. So yes, air and water. Isn't that awesome? And then the biology. The local biology is good. Native flora and fauna are abundant and generally benign across varied flourishing ecosystems, just like home. So that too is good. That means it's going to be, they wanted to grow crops. They're probably going to be able to grow crops. So that is an excellent thing. Now, here are the things that are not so true, that when they reported that the climate, the geology, and intelligent life on the planet. So they reported that the climate was good, but in fact, the climate is brutal. It is too hot or too cold, prone to savage storms, wildly unstable, or otherwise murderously hostile to human habitation.
Ain't that just the way?
So, bad, bad, bad weather. The geology is a lethal combination of violent, unstable, difficult, and convoluted. Life here is dangerous where it isn't outright impossible. So, yeah, not so good. If it's like, so the air is good, but you need to find somewhere to stand. That's kind of an issue. And finally, intelligent life. They thought there wasn't any, but in fact, the natives are intelligent and primitive, but clearly keen on catching up as fast as they can. They're strange and dangerous. They watch us and wait. And that, of course, is from the human perspective.
I was hoping somebody wouldn't pick that one.
Yes. They picked out those the three things that are true. So that's the case with the planet. And that planet, so that's A, D, and E. So as I threw my cards here that I got the Durance cards. And ADE, here we go. Oaks 2. Oaks 2 is a geologically complex planet with abundant water supplies and a favorable atmosphere. Gas mix and pressure are human ideal. Rugged forms of life cling to steep canyon walls. Numerous sites for potential colonies exist. Recommended, that was the survey, right? The climate has a wild daily fluctuation from 0 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius.
Oof.
And back again. Planetary terrain consists of murderously folded slot canyons and pinnacles. And native intelligence watches and waits.
No good.
And so we're going to get to define what actually some of that means. But they have some potential details that we can throw out if we want. That it's kind of like in Fiasco, if there are things that you decide you want to pick off of a list. We've got a few things if you want to throw them into the back of your mind, if you want to look at them at some point. Perhaps I should have thrown this into Roll20. Too late. Anyway, well, I wasn't going to throw all the planets into Roll20. That's a lot. An industrial flamethrower low on fuel might be an element we run into. Popcorn Canyon, where the massacre took place, whatever that means. It's like a tree, only it moves and throws spears. Break rock crystals that re-knit into fantastic shapes with the weather. A hut atop a canyon wall, abandoned since the landing. Or a water sample tagged for immediate incineration. Those are all suggested details. We don't have to use any of them if we don't want, but those are available if we decide we want to. And they're like labeled 1 to 6. So eventually, if someone decides I need a detail and wants to roll a d6, I'll reread that. So let's see. Next, we've got the colony that they established on Oaks 2. And let's see. So the things that are true about this colony that they reported, the density record. The density level is comfortably spacious, and there is room for all. The colony's footprint corresponds accurately to its inhabitants, with room for growth. So that much is in fact true. Then,
as long as you don't mind living on like canyon walls. And
yeah,
stuff.
that's kind of a thing. That's that is sort of a question.
Yeah.
But Yeah, that's the density record. And then we have the order record. The convict population is compliant and docile, at least on the surface. This may be a result of harsh measures or politics, but order is well established. So it seems to be working out. With that going on, so that you don't see a lot of dissent. At least not at first. Yeah, yet. And justice. The rule of law is firmly in place, and the judge advocate presides over a functioning, if truncated, judicial system. So that's apparently that may be part of the reason why order seems to be going well. And now let's see the things that they haven't quite wanted to talk about so much. Planning. The colony is essentially unplanned. Structures and services are scattered, as though by pure, inelegant chance. Everything is inconvenient. So
followed by rock slides, maybe.
Yeah, might be a bit of a problem if you can't keep anything on a level surface. Nice. So, yeah, apparently everything's in order, but that's like all that's in order. Workforce. The colony labor pool, quote unquote, consists of unmotivated, dissolute layabouts. Convicts have no discernible skills and only work when forced to.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. They're not that rowdy, but the flip side of that is they don't seem to do much.
These convicts are relatable.
And prosperity. The colony is dying, and there is only scarcity and want. Industrial and agricultural schemes have largely failed. Yeah,
it sounds so bad when you put it that way.
Hard to farm on canyon walls.
That's because the people that are there are that are looking at us. They're sabotaging us.
That's clearly it. It's clearly those natives they didn't tell us about. Okay, so that is V, Z, and Y on the colonies. So let's see what that is. V, Z, Y is probably later in the list. V, Z, Y. V, Z, Y. There we go. V, Y, Z. Capital. Apparently the colony is called Capital.
Oh, you're drawing cards for all this?
Yes, it's also this is also in the Durance book, but Bully Pulpit Games also came up with cards that you can order separately off of Drive-Thru Cards. Is where I got mine.
Love cards.
Yeah, it's I think they're coming in handy so far. It's the first time I've used them, but it basically I think helps cut down on time flipping back and forth, that kind of thing. So the capital or capital. This will be the center of authorities' empire across the rift one day, and will make it a success through a combination of force, the language lags understand, and the rule of law. It is not easy currently. And it says, we all eat the same grub in capital, mighty capital, capital of nothing but misery. The outstations were all built based on surveyor lies. The work is pointless toil, the planet unyielding, and eventually the supplies we brought are going to fail. And so that is our situation. So a few more details. I've got some more details for Capital. A flag desecrated, 3 quiet men with identical tattoos, a swell's outstation brothel thriving on sex slavery, the sickly sweet odor of rotting meat, the bake shack, its oven converted to an unwholesome use. Or an open letter in a shaky hand addressed to the governor. Those are all details we can draw in if we wish, if you feel like it, or if you want to ask for one, just let me know, and I will go back here to this. 1 to 6, those are listed, and we can pluck those at random. So here we are, just on Oaks 2 in Capital, and we got to figure out what we're doing here. So the way that Jim does that is he looks back at the how to play, and we're going to go through and keep doing the
How do you spell Oaks 2?
O-A-K-E-S.
Okay.
And the number 2. So, let's see. Step 1, we did step 1. Step 2, we got the planetary survey and colonial record. So step 3 is drives. Right. mood and atmosphere. I should have thrown a graphic up in Roll20 for this, but essentially there are 3 drives in this game. You have servility, you have savagery, and you have a third drive, which folks will see on the overlay. That's not currently filled in. We need to fill that third drive in, and what we do is we pick from a series of 6 of them that we have here, and I will read out what they are. And generally the way this goes is we go around and we can each cross one off the list. And let me pull it. Let me see here. I'm going to probably have to pull it up real quick in front of me because it's not showing in a handy place in the book. So let me see. Here we go. They are control, status, safety, harmony, indulgence, and freedom. So we go ahead. Excellent. People have been writing. That's good. So yeah, basically we get to the way this typically works. So we get to each cross. Everyone gets to cross one off, and we just go around the circle and do that. Let me throw that in here real quick whilst this is going on, so that we've got that control, and then it disappeared. Okay, yeah, good. Okay. I can just keep doing that. We have control, and we have status.
You can definitely just cross off freedom for me, because they forgot what freedom's like.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Harmony. Indulgence. And I will not bother to add freedom to the list. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to continue.
This is the drive of the administration side, or this is the drive of the workers, or both of us?
This is the session's mood and atmosphere. So it's kind of on a meta level. What we want to possibly see dominate at some point during this session, or have a chance at dominating. It's not that we're going for it, but it's a thing that is competing with savagery and servility. So it's sort of a narrative choice. So
Okay.
Danny has taken off freedom, so I'm going to continue around counterclockwise, and go to Richard. What one of those? If you should be able to see them in Roll20 now. Which one of those do you want to cross off?
Yeah. Indulgence has this appealing kind of depravity to it. I'm gonna say cross off status.
Okay, so status will not be a major drive that we have, and now I'm going to try to find a way. There we go. Excellent. Roll20. Okay.
Get rid of control, please.
I will get rid of control. Control is gone. There is no control. I will take away... I'm going to take away harmony. I gotta. And Danny, you get to pick the last one, so you get to decide which one is going to be...
Oh, get rid of safety. Come on now. That's out of here.
Nice.
All right. No safety.
We're gonna die here on this planet before it ever gets nice. All right, we're gonna die having a
Good time.
enjoying what little we can get.
Yeah.
Quite possibly,
Not
yes.
even the desire for safety. It's an option. Damn.
All right. So we've got the drive of indulgence. There we go. Okay. Now, let me clear off my desktop in front of me here, the literal desktop, so that we can I can have room to deal out more cards should it be necessary. And next on the agenda, we have our notables. We need to actually pick out characters. Now, this is, in this case, we're really all just trying to guide a story. This is very much a storytelling game. So we each have we're each going to have 2 characters at our disposal to answer the various questions that are going to be coming up. But don't get attached. That's all I can say, because this is very much about drama and conflict. between these characters and things that are happening, and getting them to break their oaths, which is going to be awesome when we get to that part real soon. So first off, we have the ladder. Now, as you can see, there essentially the way that society that is thought to work is you have the authority smiling down on happy convicts who are working to under them their complete authority, for lack of a better term. However, what you really have are two competing social ladders. You have the side of the authority and you have the side of the convicts, and there is, as always, a pecking order. And it starts with the governor all the way down on the authority side, and then on the convict side, it starts with the Dimberdamber, who is the one in charge, and again, they're of the sort of the shadow government, shall we say, and it goes down there. So what you're each going to get to do is pick a place on the ladder, name that character, and so you'll have responsibility for that character. Then pick a place on the other side of the ladder, not on the same rung. So pick someone above and below, name that character, and then you'll have responsibility for that character. And I think this time I'll go around clockwise, and I will let Darcy pick first.
Cool.
So, yeah, actually, just pick one for right now. We'll go around a couple times.
Let's see. One of the the judge advocate is Gil Waycox.
Awesome.
She is a hard-lined, by the book character, as we are a place of justice and order.
Cool.
So
Do you want to
Gil
fill that in? You want me to?
Yeah, I'll put it in.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And leave a little bit of space because there's going to be an oath below it. Going around to Richard. What do you want? You have rolled an 8, or a 3 and a 5. So, can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Do that all the time. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no worries.
So I've got Docker with an AL, like Walker. He is a swell. So he's a free colonist. I'm gonna say he's a scientist. Something along those lines.
Cool.
Type that in there.
Okay, awesome. Excellent, that sounds cool. And Danny, you get to pick next.
Is this just a humanoid planet?
Well, there are humanoids colonizing the planet. The natives might not be humanoid, or they might be.
But we are all, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Lord of Vice, and it's going to be Darla, and she's going to be a cruel, sadistic prisoner under the convict side. Can I do that?
Sure. Where's which rung is that?
The second one, the minions.
Excellent. Lord of Vice. I love that. Cool. All right. Let's see.
I'm going to change her name because it's too close to Darla. Like, I'm going to change her name to make her a little different.
Sure.
So, okay.
All right. And let's see. I think something I've wanted to try for a while is to play a crawler, actually. Just because I don't see that played very often. So I think I mean, granted, I've only personally played once before, but I've seen actual plays and stuff, and people don't seem to pick those sort of characters. I think I'm going to do that.
What's a crawler?
Crawler is essentially somebody who is no longer of use to anyone as far as they're concerned.
Wow.
It's let me see in the descriptions in here. Any lag who survives long enough becomes a crawler. The most useless of all crawlers are the broken, the aged, the infirm, and the insane. No one pays crawlers any mind. So I think I'm going to be playing an old man on that side, on the convict side.
That's already so great because, like, how are you still alive on this hell planet?
That is Well,
nobody cares.
That's a question
Or
we
not.
might be able to
Let's see.
answer. So let's see.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick a name randomly from here. I am going to be using the Cipher System NPC deck to.
Look at that plug.
Nice.
Seamless. Why, I even heard there's a sale going on.
I heard
in
that
our store
too.
on all Cipher System products. All right, and plug.
Yes. No. On this channel, we have every right to be shameless. Let's see.
Link is in chat.
So let's see. I'm gonna go with, yeah. Actually, I'm gonna use the slightly different name here. That's what am I? That's 16. Let me go to 10 here. What? Let me see what this one. Let's see what this font says. Oh, that's way too tiny. He says playing with fonts. Okay. Lachlan Searle. Okay. That's the and that is he is a crawler. He is a basically just an old man who has been there probably probably was one of the first ones down as when he was just still barely useful as a convict, and I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say that he was one of those convicts who was a scientist, who was like a botanist, and so he was doing a certain amount of gardening work. Still continues to kind of try to do that, but a while back there was an altercation that was quickly put down. But his right knee did not make it, so essentially is bound to a chair at this point, and tried to be useful for helping with management of prisoners to a certain extent, that there are gardeners, but pretty much no one wants to use them anymore for anything. So just sort of way out they've sort of left him out there to his own devices, and he seems to still be alive for some reason, but we're not sure why yet. And that's Lachlan Searle.
Cool.
And I think we're back around to Darcy.
All right, our other person I might want to play. So we've got Judge Gil Waycox, and Wend Pardon is going to be somebody.
Ooh.
I'm not sure who. Any suggestions? I'm trying to. I had the name before I had
Great
the role.
name.
Yeah.
So you could be the Dimber Damber if you want, or
Dimber Damber's
Pretty good
okay.
Dimber Damber name.
It is. Oh, that's awesome.
Wend Pardon, the most Dimber that ever was.
The best damn Dimber. Wait.
the Dimber Damber. They took all these names from Thieves' Cant, or some of them from Thieves' Cant, I think, if I recall correctly. What the notes Jason did about this, because as a bit of a thing, this is for anyone for whom this is not clicked yet. This is based on Australia.
Yeah. I was just like, wait. I was talking to a friend of mine who's Australian last night, actually, and we're playing Fiasco, and I was describing this game to him, and I'm like, so it's in space, but it's a penal colony. Wait.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
So it is your turn, Richard, to.
Awesome. So I'm gonna play. Let's see. So, quick rules question. It's legit to have multiple people in the same space, same side and same rank, as long as they're not the governor and the Dimber Damber. Is that true?
Well, it's you need to have, actually it needs to be a different rung on the ladder.
Right. I mean, like
on the
if I
opposite
share it
side.
with another player, like if I wanted to make make my next one Captain Sharp, for instance, is that?
Oh, I think actually you are supposed to pick a different spot on the ladder
Okay.
from them. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, I think, mine's gonna be Orphea, and she's gonna be a bolter. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the bolter is taken, and just for those who may be watching, I should really pull up the my PDF here so that I can read through it a little bit. But for bolters, they're basically celebrated outlaws. They've bolted basically. They got away, so that's they tend to be celebrated on the in the convict structure. But of course, they are the most wanted in a way on the. And actually, that's unheard of here, where you know everyone's supposed to be following the rules apparently. So that's got to be a major thing. Danny, you get to pick.
All right, I am going to pick Miss Jackal. She is in the bottom rung of the authorities. She's a former convict because she was wrongly convicted, and so nobody trusts her because she's actually a good person.
Yes.
Nice. I love that.
Ain't that some shit?
That is dripping with pain. That's delightful.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Destiny will repay her for being such a good person
Yeah.
by only having good things happen to her.
Right.
Yes, I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so
Miss Jackal.
that's the emancipist rung there. So let me see. I picked
My
on
roll
the
20 just goes
convict
slow.
side. So now I got to pick either. Ooh, so I'm getting either the governor or the Marines. So let's see. And this is all these. Anyone who's not picked, it's still there are still characters there and available as NPCs, but it's not. They're not as important narratively. So let's see. So, I could play Joe Marine, or I could play the governor. I'm taking the governor. I think I feel as though I have to. I always do this to myself. Let's see. So the governor. Who is the governor? I have no idea who the governor is, but let's find out. The governor. Yeah, let's go with this combination. Governor's going to be Hannah Dalen. And I have not yet figured out how corrupt a governor she is, but we'll find out. Well, I was about to write governor. There's only one possible title up there. Okay, cool.
You gotta remind people at every opportunity.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Just wear a hat she wears a hat that says governor. Basically, that's the deal. So as this is going on, I'm gonna. So actually, yeah, the fourth rung, no one picked. So I'll probably throw in a couple of names down there at some point while we're going on, just so that we have that. But those are basically open. Should something like somebody die early on or whatever, and you want to take up someone, you can always grab someone on that rung. Or actually, it's at that point you can pretty much grab from anywhere that's available. So yeah, it's initial run through. We have to pick a different rung, but from this point on, we pick up another one. It can be from wherever. Okay, so that's where we are there. And so next, I believe we move to oaths, if I am thinking on this correctly. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of things that, of course, folks are going to need to think about with respect to their characters, but I think that's we don't have to worry too much yet. Okay, so An oath is something a character has sworn never to do. And in this step, we will choose them for our notables. And an oath is a serious thing. It should be something that will conflict with the colony's drive, in a way. So it should be something that conflicts with indulgence, perhaps. That's one thing that we can say the oath might conflict with, so that they can be constantly tempted by it. So, for example, like on the convict side, I will never wear chains again as possible, or on the emancipist side, someone who's been freed. Keep in mind when we're setting up scenes, the questions that we're going to want to ask need to be aimed at breaking these oaths. If someone takes, I never want to wear chains again, that means we're going to be looking for opportunities to put someone in chains again. So those are different ones. I put a list of the oaths up here in Roll20 for you folks to look at from there. And so those are possibilities.
We can make up our own, though?
And I see now that I have... don't look at the one in Roll20 now, because it turns out I see that I took 2 pages from the wrong place. So... you've got half an oath list in there, but in our Discord chat, I did put a thing of the oaths in there, so you can actually look there. But the idea is, if you can make up your own if they're of the same sort of thing. So you can feel free to do
format to it, I guess. I will never.
Yeah, basically. Everyone wants blank, but I will never blank to get it, essentially. Everyone wants indulgence, but I will never do this thing to get it, is a good sort of format to look at. And in the meantime, I will do a bit of trickery to see if I can get a thing out here. So, typically, it says, continuing the rotation, hand the colonial nobles sheet, and then have them consult the list of oaths and select one, the one thing the notable has sworn they will never do as long as they draw breath. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up this. There we go. And I'm going to use my handy select tool. And I'm going to do a thing. So, the first 3 oath categories, and you can also, they're set up so you can roll if you desire to just roll a d6 and figure it out, because they're neat that way. Down underneath everything, I'm gonna post. I'm gonna see if I can make that work. There we go. Okay. So those are the others there. Let me go ahead and just pull this one up as well. Professionalism. Let me pull this one up as well. And then we'll have it there, and that'll hopefully be something we can all play with. There you go. So I've got the oaths down there in Roll20. The list there, so you can always do it. So we're going to keep going around, and assuming, have we already had some in here?
Oh, we're working.
Excellent. Cool. So we've got one for Wind. We've got one for Judge Gill. We've got one for Miss Jackal. And so we just need them for everybody else. So let me see. I'll also just identify myself as the person who's pulling the strings of the governor. All right. So let's see. What will I never do despite indulgence? Let's see. There are so many delicious choices here. Let's see. Oh, here's a nice. Whoa. Okay, I seem to be copying and pasting. So let me see if I can undo that, or just move that over here. Okay, here. There we go. Okay, we're good. That was so strange. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna try that one. Form a crawler.
If anybody's in chat has ideas about how predictions for these characters or ideas, I'd love to read them.
I think things are going to go terribly. Things are going to go so terribly. And it will be glorious. Okay. I'm going to rephrase this one a little bit. Yeah. Although that doesn't really fight Indulgence so much per se, but...
Does it have to go in hand? So, like, for the Lord of Vice, Shep, they will never intolerate the weak, as a general.
Yeah, that can be fine. Just as long as, we're going to send things that will... if it would... I think there are ways that it would be considered indulgent to do that. Because, showing weakness, never good. I think I'm just saying I will never kill anyone for Lochran. Let's see, and so we've got some delightful oaths here for the governor. This should be interesting. Yeah. Oh yeah, let's do this. I'm feeling a deluded governor. I'm feeling that. So I will never abandon what I have built here. Never.
Going down with the ship.
Yep. That's right. So, Hannah's, I will never abandon what I've built here. Lochran's, I will never kill anyone.
Cool.
And, we'll just go around and read ours out loud for anyone who's having trouble seeing it on the screen. I'll go clockwise. Danny, what are your oaths?
Okay, so Miss Jackal, who was a wrongly convicted criminal, will never become a criminal, and she will never break the law, no matter how tempting it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And then Lord Shep, the Lord of Vice, will never tolerate the weak.
Excellent. And Richard?
Yeah, so Professor Docker will never abandon their research. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm going to wait to reveal what the nature of the research is when we start playing. But and Orphea, Bolter, will never let these authority goons doom us all.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. One thing I did just notice for anyone who's watching and is terribly familiar with the game, generally you're not supposed to pick the same level on the ladder on the other side, but it's no big deal. As far as I only just noticed that, but it's no big deal. We'll keep. I like the idea of having that dynamic still there, so I think we're good. And Darcy.
Judge Gil Waycox has a strong, commitment to the safety of the native intelligent life that was not here when the report, or was not in the report when she was told to come here, but she's now committed to bringing justice to them as well as to the rest of the colony. On the other hand, Wend Pardon, the Dimber Damber themselves, is fiercely proud of the vast underground collection they have here, and refuses to abandon what they built here, despite any temptation of indulgence.
I just realized we took the same oath also.
Mm-hmm. That feels kind of right, though.
It does. It kind of does.
You're on top. You want to stay on top.
I like the mirroring thing here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're also fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So, as we continue with this, Let's see, we've got our oaths down, I think. Yeah. So we've got the planet, the colony chosen. We know what drives the colonist. We've each got 2 characters. Do we have any general feelings about? We should probably talk a little bit about what the planet and the colony are like. We did that a little bit, but we also can fill in details if there's anything that we feel needs to be there.
Yeah.
So what do we think?
I was digging what people were contributing earlier. I'm like definitely imagining this kind of totally alien landscape of like volcanic rock and canyons and pinnacles and stuff. So I don't know, kind of like parts of the Southwest, I guess, but worse.
Yeah, I'm seeing like I really liked the idea that our colony is very much like built into these walls, so these wild like rope ladders and bridges and systems.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Like how climbers will sleep on little like ledges that they lash to a sheer rock face. Yes.
But the
Awesome.
natives know the rock structure and can manipulate it so much better than we ever could. So they have somehow found a way to infiltrate and spy on us in our structures.
Love it. You see a little bit of discoloration in a rock.
Of course they have.
What if the natives are actually like? I'm torn because I want to feel I kind of want to say almost like they can burrow or they can pass through rock.
Do you remember Return to Oz with the Gnome King? Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
They were like they could make themselves humanoids out of rock, but then they would like melt back into them.
I love
Yeah, maybe they're like silica-based life forms. Or
Yes, they're the Horda. They're totally the Horda from Star Trek. I love Horda.
Excellent. So yeah, they can basically
Charming rock creatures.
They are. They can manipulate.
Charismatic megafauna made of rocks.
Yeah.
As Quincy Porter just said, the rocks are the natives.
The rocks are the natives.
Yes.
Absolutely, they are.
And we are building into them.
And we are burrowing there. Oh, this is not good.
Yeah, it's a metaphor.
We are.
I'd like to establish that it's not known, like, I like the idea that there are like these kind of charismatic megafauna, these like rock creatures that look like creatures to us, but like it's really not known where the line between creature and non-sentient rock face is.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
And that's the funny thing is we think that it's all rock, but
But we killed their leader by accident building a library.
yeah, that's not good. It's not good at
Well,
all. I think the library is like. I think that library is like Hannah's crowning achievement, and
man. Yeah.
things do not look good for it right now.
Yikes. Yeah.
This is delightful.
Yeah, snaps to that, Darcy. I like the idea of like we don't know. Like our concept of an individual organism doesn't apply to them, so it's very confusing for everyone.
Yay.
Oh, nice. Okay, very cool, very cool. I think we're getting some very neat stuff here. What about in the colony itself? Anything about the structure of the colony? We know apparently they have a library. So they're.
Love it.
The colony is apparently not thriving, but it's there's a lot of justice and order, so that there's I mean we can explore how that happens as a question if we want, but there's clearly I have a feeling there's so much. I have a feeling that while there's a low population density, there's probably a lot of vice going on. So
Danny, I'd love to know, since like you're Lord of Vice, do you have a sense of like where the underground fun vice activities are happening, like where people are, getting in trouble? Like I'm just trying to imagine, like when we see Shep, what are they presiding over? Is there like a den of
Yes, a den of debauchery and evil.
Yeah.
Sections off. There's definitely like the brothel sections we were talking about earlier and such. But you have to know how to get there because the rock structures, it's kind of like a maze, and if you don't know the right person, you're not getting there.
Love it. Do the paths change too? Like frequently, or is it pretty stable and just occasional weird stuff?
No, because the rock structures shift, and it's kind of unknown why. And actually sometimes like it moves, and it's kind of like you think of like an escalator that's like moving. You can stand on the rock and actually move at some place, whether it's somebody's heartbeat or something. We don't really know.
Cool.
I kind of almost want the convicts to be starting to work out something with the natives down there.
Sure. Yeah, I was definitely thinking of like
probably-
Orphea was she's like roughing it in the like wild, whatever is wilder than the settlement. So she's come to some kind of understanding with whatever communicates with her.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's probably still not a healthy relationship by any means, but it's
No.
with anyone, whether with any convicts that have started figuring things out.
It's a relationship of necessity. Yeah.
And they just know a sense that we're like the slaves, so they kind of put us under their wing, maybe in a weird way.
Oh,
We just had
interesting.
it.
I love it.
Did you folks just see the suggestion in the chat that just came up?
No.
That
What if
ingesting some of the
they're
rocks
Nice.
might have some psychedelic properties.
Ooh.
Yeah, she's
Richard, my cat is attacking you on the stream. It is.
Hi.
Come here,
Attack.
Asajj. Ventress.
So yeah, I think that there's probably a trade in certain rock pieces probably as well
Sure.
if they can do that.
Oh God.
Whether
I'd
that's
love to twist that knife a little further and say that it gives you like fun hallucinogenic properties and tripping rocks, I suppose. But like, what if it also like actually extends your life? So like the temptation to use it, despite the fact that it's I would love to make the temptation to use it even stronger.
Yeah, like you start maybe like your physiology changes a little bit.
Ooh,
Ooh. Oh, do you turn more rock-like?
Yeah.
I love that.
This
This
could
is
be
why you
like-
don't eat fruits down in hell, okay?
This could be a subtle indoctrination process on the part of the natives, perhaps, or it just
Or
sort of
totally
happens.
out of the goodness of their rocky little
Yes,
silicon-based
that's it.
hearts.
Here, let's help them live here.
I said in chat that this game is about the aliens now, but and I was joking, but now I'm serious about it.
But anyway, so that's. But again, these are about the. The stories are going to be about the people here. I think that's most. So we've got like a den of iniquity down below. We have an enlightened seeming library and community center type thing is probably one of the few buildings they've managed to put together. It still has parts underground, I'm thinking, but is probably is probably supposed to be like the fairly impressive crowning achievement thing. And then everyone else just sort of just outside of the main city, everyone else is just sort of clinging to the sides, and so that idea where it's like where the swells and the governor and the colonists that are there of their own free will live, and emancipists maybe on the outskirts of that, and then beyond that is where they've got all the prisoners working, and mining and planting and all those manner of things.
I add one small, slight detail. So the library also has another purpose. It's where like executions are performed.
Oh man,
Love it.
That's
They take down the record of your life.
Yeah,
Process.
right there.
It
Oh,
is in
geez.
every way a center of learning.
yeah.
See what's in the basement.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm liking this. I think we're about where we can start here. So let me see. Do we want to... Okay, I'm just going to ask, do we want to play a little bit, or do we want to take a break first, since we're about like 5:10, 5:15? I'm good either way. If we don't break it, we'll probably break within the next 20 to 30 minutes. But so, do we want to start a little bit and then break, or do we want to... We good? Okay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and play a little bit. Let's play a little bit, and then we'll probably break sometime within the next 20 minutes or so. Okay. All right. So the way this works is that we each go around, take turns being the guide. The guide is not exactly like a GM, but has to a certain extent the guide asks a question. The question is going to need to be aimed at these characters and putting them into conflict, seeing what happens with their oaths. and once the question is answered, that's when the scene ends. So the pacing of the scene and all that is kind of up to the guide, but everything else, the narration, is up to the other players and how they want to do that and how they want to handle it. In general, if possible, the guide does not play any characters during the whole thing. They can, if need be, or if you need to drag their notable in, one of their notables. But otherwise, it's mostly just between usually a couple of the players, their notables, and if we have 4 players, so usually the third person will be like any NPCs or what have you.
Sure.
And we can go from there back and forth as need be and do that. So I'll go ahead and as host, I will go ahead and start as things off to sort of make this work, and we'll do a clockwise progression, which I realized in the camera I made the circular motion the other way, so it's anyway, we'll go clockwise around the screen and we'll do it. So let's see, look at a couple of oaths here and see what looks interesting. All right, so first off, I have a strange desire to have Professor Dalker encounter the Lord of Vice for some reason.
That'll be interesting.
Because I want to kind of see, because I have a feeling like their oaths might bang up against each other a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. My question, and it can be sort of a narrative type question here. So, and also keep in mind during these scenes, death is totally on the table. You can kill off characters. You can kill off characters with the phrasing of a question if it's okay with whoever controls that notable. But
fuck me up.
Let's see. I wonder what I wonder what happens when Docker runs out of a much needed resource, and Lord Shep, as one who controls that resource, being aware of that, comes to offer it.
Awesome.
And I kind of like to see where that goes.
So sorry, what's the question? How does it?
All right, so it would be better phrased if we knew what the resource was. What does Docker use in their research?
I think they need this like refined rock drug thing. I think they
Sweet.
So this is the point at which we talk about the research, I guess. Professor Docker is a linguist. They're a linguistic anthropologist, and they're here to try and communicate with the aliens and learn their language. So they use this drug to help them do that.
Excellent. Okay, so I think what I need to know is as this is not the official, this is just me asking Richard. Do you think Docker would go to the Den of Iniquity to try to get more of this stuff?
Yeah, I don't think they'd be afraid to. I think their line of thinking would be like, well, I need more of this, and obviously the Lord of Vice has it, so why don't I just go ask them for it?
All right. So my question then is, will the Lord of Vice let Will the Lord of Vice let Docker have what they want, and what conditions will be put on it?
Yeah, what price needs to be paid here?
That is is my question, and so
Professor Docker.
So let me go ahead and actually turn off the slightly happier music and switch to the slightly less happy volcanic ambience.
Volcanic. That's perfect. So, because I think we see Professor Docker, we get a shot of a little ravine, and then there's a little grappling hook thing, and we see them scramble up out of it, kind of dust themselves off, and they've got grubby army issue kind of fatigues full of all kinds of measurement instruments and stuff, and they're covered in dust. They're like probably in their late 30s. They would probably look South Asian to us. They have that kind of skin tone, and their like eyes are like always kind of spooky and tense. And so we see them kind of rapidly walking towards the whatever the like. I'll let you describe, Danny, what this like the how you get down to this the den of iniquity, as it were.
Okay. You actually had a guide that met you there.
Okay.
To bring you the full
Sure.
way. You know, you get the base part. We had to go through a little bit of, questioning to get.
Yeah, sure.
Do a lot of rock structures, and then you walk into a dark cavern, and you are filled with the smells of bodily fluids and nasty but kind of enjoyable scents and sounds as you are taken around some dark corners, and you are well aware of what you're passing, and
Sure.
you come into a room carved out of stone with the Lord is in camo gear that matches, not like yours, that matches the rock structure. So
Okay.
you see bright eyes sitting
Nice.
behind a desk, and not much else. The head is covered with a hood, and says,
Okay.
"What brings you out of your element?"
So I kind of like look around. What should we call this drug? Actually, I want to interject really quick. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Nyborg
need the
comes
name.
to mind. Like,
What?
Nyborg.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh.
It's a silly reference to a very bad movie.
What bad movie? Nyborg?
I think it's from
Was that
heavy metal.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Yeah, the movie Heavy Metal. But
We can call it Nyborg.
sure. It's like the cocaine stand-in, which is not probably what this drug does, but whatever. So I'm just kind of clear my throat, and I look around. I say, I hear you're the person to come to for Nyborg. So here I am.
You don't look the type.
I like kind of scoff a little bit. I'm like, I don't think these enthusiasts probably realize how much potential it does have. And I'm like checking you out to see how you react to that.
You see a little spark. It would be nice to share it with more people, but it's in hot demand right now. A little more difficult to get.
I like kind of nod and wait for you to continue. I'm like, yeah, okay, I've got money. Like,
It seems that one of your research facilities
Hmm.
is on top of where it's mined. It's causing a little issue.
I like quirk an eyebrow.
So perhaps we can help each other out. You're going to have to move it.
I can certainly talk to the governor.
Now, we can make it disappear real quick.
I might. There are some things I might need to get before it is wiped from the face of the earth. What are you planning exactly?
A little cave in. Don't worry. You won't be connected. And then you can have all of the things you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, they like sigh and kind of break eye contact for a couple of seconds, and then like nod. Okay.
You're willing to do it?
What do I need to do?
I just need to get in. Do you have a key, the code?
Yeah. So I think I'd probably give you a code. I'll I'll like approach you, and then give it to you. Just you, so that other people can't hear.
They snap their fingers, and somebody runs in, and they have a little whispered conversation. And some things are exchanged in a hand as she exchanges the code. Says, "Here's a little down payment. If the code you give is right," and she reaches out a little package, "you can have all your heart desires."
Yeah, and I keep eye contact with you, and it just kind of disappears into a pocket. Yeah, what would they say here? I think they nod. They say, "It's right. Don't wait too long."
"I wouldn't be in the building in the next 2 hours if I were you. Come back tomorrow. We'll chat."
I just kind of smirk, and I'm like, "I never am." And I leave. Yeah, great. That seems like a fine place to cut.
Oh, I can't.
Jim, you're muted. Still muted on Zoom. Okay.
That shit's gonna be like going down, that building.
Yeah.
I have to wonder like what these structures look like. Do you guys have thoughts?
Are they made out of like the native material?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like people would have come here with kind of like materials to make,
Some
like
prefab.
poop houses and stuff, and like prefab houses, but they might have had to improvise because, yeah.
Yeah, I like ramshackle, the idea of, and then there was something about like ever shifting like crystalline structure. So I'm wondering if there's some aspects of like kind of light, letting the light into some of these buildings, especially for your scientific work.
Yeah.
Sort of transmitted through this, various colored.
That's great.
Crystal.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, I like the idea of like just working by this like dim natural light all the time.
Yeah.
How many suns does this planet have? Or is it like different lights depending on which one's up?
Yeah.
Ooh.
We just have like forever day, like Alaska in the summer.
I kind of like that since it swings between 0 and 30 Celsius, you have two suns, but you get both sun and no sun. I think we're about to take a break real quick as we try to get Jim's audio back online.
Yeah, good idea.
So Jim will maybe switch us to that break card, and we will catch up with chat shortly.
Yes.
Great.
Hello, we have returned, and hopefully everyone can hear me now. It's one of those things where apparently there's something betwixt Zoom and my Yeti and the cable between everything, and well, we'll see how things go. But in the meantime, we've got stuff happening, and so we shall continue to do the stuff that is happening. So let me see. One of the things that we didn't talk. Well, actually, before we get to that, let's go over, because I was a little distracted at the time. So what happened in that last scene at the? How did that scene resolve?
Yeah, so I agreed to do what Shep asked of me, in kind of giving them the opportunity to I guess cave in this research base. That I guess may have happened off screen, Danny?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
Now, is that coming up in direct opposition to the principles, or it sounded like you were like that Professor Dalker was never there anyway, and so you weren't necessarily abandoning your research, right?
No, so I'm imagining that they are like doing field work almost all the time.
Okay.
So it's not so much that they're like, I don't give a shit about that, but like they know it's not like a huge loss for them personally.
Cool. Got
It's gonna, I'm sure it'll fuck plenty of stuff up, but
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And less more came down than they thought, and the current research that you've been doing kind of got.
Ooh, how much? That could be a level of uncertainty, whether
Uh-oh.
something important that you didn't realize was in there,
No.
or. But that's up to you.
That's possible. Well, we can frame that as need be. One thing we were talking about a little bit at the break that I realized I did not go over. We didn't need it that last scene necessarily, because we answered the question. But if there at any point in the scene is uncertainty, then the guide can then roll 2 dice, which you see on the uncertainty triangle, and see which thing is going to then dominate the solution of that scene. So you aim at that, basically. So I would have rolled 2 of the dice and just see sort of what happens. I actually should start by rolling all 3 of them, just so that they're on a random number. I set them all to 1. So let's see, we've got that at 3, and that at 2, and Indulgence is also at 3 right now. Okay, so but that's in the pre-rolled status, and so we'll see if we hit any uncertainty. We'll go to the dice. All right, so that was that scene, and so no oaths got crossed off yet. So let's see what happens next. So we go around to Darcy's turn to be the guide. So Darcy should come up with a question and aim it at the characters.
Yeah, so try to look up more example questions. So my questions are kind of like, what... I want to make them break their oaths is sort of my goal, right? So questions like... Apparently there isn't a list of... Oh, cool. Something like, I wonder why Will sabotaged the atmosphere plant. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a question. I'm really intrigued by this Miss Jackal. I think she sounds really interesting. Let's see. Let's get 2 people together. It might be interesting to have the 2 lowest rung folk, the Lochran and Miss Jackal. What would put them together? That might be interesting. So they're both kind of good, right? More or less. Huh.
that's why they're at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Ooh.
Let's see. Lochran is probably just still is. Well, we don't know how Lochran's surviving right now, but apparently they're doing some sort of. They're growing something. Maybe he's growing something up in his little distant barren hermit pinnacle.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I know my question. I want to know what is the dirty deed that Hannah Dellen wants to give to Miss Jackal? So, as someone who will be unnoticed. So, is that a reasonable question? A dirty deed Hannah Dallin is trying to assign to Miss Jekyll.
Yeah, that definitely is something that's aiming toward the toward those oaths. So yeah.
Is the music a little loud?
Is it?
It isn't to me, but it might be through
say they're
Twitch.
Oh, Roll20. Okay, let me take that down a wee bit. Yeah, thank you for letting us know. And if it's does it sound okay? Let me know. And we'll see how this goes. All right. So, I guess then that
Oh, it's apparently the wop wop sounds.
Okay.
Is that,
so when it
that might be on your end because I don't hear that.
Oh, they don't like the die rolling sounds. I
wonder if there's a way to toggle that in Roll20.
There is.
There
I
should
think
be.
I've
For another break.
not made use of it before, because I happen to like the die rolling sounds, but that's just me. Let's see. Yeah. Well, it doesn't happen that often, but I'll see if I can figure it out in the
that's weird.
In the interim how to turn that off, because I think that there is a toggle, but
I would say feel free to turn the music back up a little, and I'll look up what.
Yeah,
the
actually,
might be.
come to think of it, that's the it's like I turned down the ambience here, but let me know if I turn the ambience up too much.
Cool.
But yeah, okay. So this scene then need to give Miss Jackal a task that would involve something. It would involve them breaking the law. So I think let's see. What do we want? We want. Oh yes, let me look at the method cards. Okay, good, I'll take that one. I'm using plot builder cards also to try to figure some things out. Okay, I feel like there's, yeah, I can work with this. Okay, this should be interesting. I'm going to, yeah, so Miss Jackal will receive a message to visit Hannah's office, Hannah Dalen's office. They're in the learning center.
Miss Hannah?
Yes. Oh yeah, and sort of takes. Oh yes, dear. Come in. Close the door, would you?
Miss Jackal closes the door and sits down.
Excellent. It's good to see that. How is your how have things been for you since your release?
Just staying on the right side of the law. It's been wonderful. I feel so good not having that scarlet letter on me.
Oh, of course. I'm. That's the objective. That's part of what we want to do here. What is it? Oh, actually, yeah. One thing I feel like there would have been a little research done ahead of time on Hannah's part. What does Miss Jackal do now in terms of making her way, making her living?
She helps sort records and that kind of clerical stuff.
Okay. So actually, she probably works in this building.
Yes.
So.
She took the fall for someone she loved.
Oh, that's wonderful.
She still has a broken heart.
So, Hannah will say, there is, however, an interesting Well, we've come across an interesting difficulty that I think perhaps you can help me with. For the first time, we actually have an area in which we are a bit overstaffed, if you can believe it.
With the non-criminals?
Yes, in the, in the records department, I'm afraid.
Oh.
Now, I can try to do what I can, and so part of that is I wanted to come talk to you personally, and I can tell you that I've seen I've seen your work record, and I really would not want to lose you, but it is going to be a very difficult decision. I am going to have to let someone go. On the other hand, if you might be willing to take on some extra tasks, then I think we could see clear to balancing things just accounting-wise, so that we can still make sure we keep everyone on.
Oh. I'm not made for that outside work. I'll do whatever you need. I'm just balancing. I'm just doing the right thing, right?
Of course, we are preserving the colony with what we do. It's very important. Part of that is to ensure that communication is kept clear. Absolute clarity. And to that end, I think I have a task for you. It should not be too difficult.
Okay.
She takes out an envelope. It's a big sort of space manila envelope, basically.
Space lope
envelope. And sets it down on the desk. I would like you to deliver this with all discretion, all due discretion. It's very important. I need you to deliver it to Wend Pardon.
I'm looking at Wend.
You know who that is, I take it.
Yeah, but we don't deal with them. We're the right people. They that's the wrong side.
Oh, they are indeed all still convicts, but they are people, and we must make sure that we have an understanding with them that is maintained. Thus far, Judge Waycox has been making an excellent example of those for whom it's needed. However, in some cases, I think that there are, shall we say, subtler ways to deal with things. And this is one of them. I think that once you deliver this envelope to Wend Pardon, they will, upon seeing its contents, clearly understand how things lie. And we will be able to maintain the peace.
So I'm not doing anything wrong by delivering this, right? I have no dangers?
Well, it's discretion is important here. You're doing nothing wrong, of course, but no one must see you do it. This is very discreet communication, very important.
You speak of communication. I think the only thing that I would do this for is, can you get a message to my Amy? She's on planet R5, or at least she was.
I think we can. I think we can arrange that. It's we have to wait for the. Actually, no, the atmosphere is fine, so I don't think we're going to have too many satellite problems. So, all right, I think we can get something out in the next mail probe, certainly.
You'll find her then. It's just a simple message. Just tell her that I forgive her and I'll always love her.
Of course I will. I'll make sure that that's delivered.
Then I'll do what you ask.
Give me a few of the details, then just for delivery. Then I'll see to it. All right.
I'll go at night.
That is a good idea. Also, I should probably mention that you should not look at the contents of that envelope. It is that would be a breach of trust.
I understand.
Only when pardoned should see the contents. Good. I think we've come to a good place here. Excellent. I think that's basically the scene. Yeah. If you would like clarity on what's in the envelope, I can express that. But
I'm pretty sure Miss Jackal gets quite the clear idea that she's not dealing all on the up and up on this one.
Does she deliver it?
Yeah, she's gonna fucking deliver it.
Oh,
if
okay.
it gets a message to Amy, this is not a cheap thing. Like, we don't get to send messages. I don't get to communicate. She'll do whatever it takes.
Is this breaking an oath, or is this just towing the line? Since you still think you're doing a good thing.
I would say it's a little bit breaking.
Yeah.
Well, if she has an idea what this actually is, then yeah, this is kind of she's breaking the law if she knew what it was, but that's the question, right? It's sort of on the line there. What do you think? What do you think? Does she think that her oath is getting broken?
I think she thinks her oath is broken because she knows it's bad, but again, interstellar communication, she just wants to get a message to Amy. She'll fucking do anything. She's gonna break her.
All right.
She's gonna break her oath.
So when that happens, there's a rule for that. Hang on.
Yeah, we gotta start breaking these characters.
Yeah.
We've gotten to see how they're living, and now it needs to go downhill.
No.
Bloody Jackal just joined us, I just have to say. So Miss Jackal is named after you, and her lover's name is Amy. So get that.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So incidentally, my thought was that the envelope has blackmail material, but it also could turn out to be something else if we decide narratively it can be some other communication going on.
I think any time that the top is trying to, connect to the other side is going to be bad.
So if someone breaks an oath, they're at the heart of oaths are at the heart of Durance. If a character breaks an oath, their personal story is nearing its conclusion. When an oath is broken, the player of the oath-breaking notable must immediately choose one of the following options. A notable does not necessarily have to be the oathbreaker. Changes position on the ladder, or a planetary survey or colonial record assessment changes for better or worse. That's option 2. Option 3, the unique drive for the game changes. So we would take away Indulgence and put something else there. So you get one of those 3. Which one would you like?
Damn.
I think she's going to change spots on. Oh wait, we should make this very dramatic for the story because
and also Miss Jackal is no longer going to be a notable once the choice is made. So
okay,
we're no longer going to ask questions about her. We can move her on the ladder if you like, but
no. What is the most dramatic option? We think everybody.
I feel like the mayor could get in trouble. The mayor or Wend, like if something goes wrong with this, like they could be implicated, or the governor or Wend.
We could have that happen. So
yes, I guess it depends on whether the blackmail is delivered and takes effect, or if somebody discovers it and traces it to the governor.
Shep or somebody discovers it en route.
So, and the cool thing about this, we can just decide how it happens, and you can just decide one of these things, and then we can just make it happen narratively.
Yeah. All right, so she's going to deliver it. Who's is somebody going to see her doing it, or is she getting off scot-free?
Well, what do you think? What do you want?
Does it seem
Of
like
these 3 options? of these three options, which one do you want to happen? And we'll kind of aim it that way, as we can sort of answer that question that way.
Okay.
Like if she's seen or whatever. Do you want to move someone on the ladder? You can basically move anybody.
Okay. I
yeah.
am going to move Hannah.
Nice.
Because Wen absolutely gets it. Hannah sends that message first, though. We got to make sure that happens. But Wen betrays Hannah, and Hannah actually gets in trouble with the law, and she is now down to the convicts.
Okay. Now you can actually move. You can move Hannah to any position, even an occupied position. Even if there's already a character there, you can move Hannah into that place. So it can. So where on the convict side do you want to put Hannah?
I can't. This is terrible. I can't actually read the descriptions. My eyes are. I have my contacts in. So if you guys want to help me out, what's the
Convicts, lags, and sables. That's like the regular, just
Yeah, that's the rank and file is convicts. Bolters mean that if you put her under bolters, then she ran away. If you put her under minions, that means that she starts working for the Dimber Damber directly.
No, I think she's
under outcast, then she runs off.
The conflict. So she's never going to be bottom row because she's been up at the top before, but she's not too high up now.
Nice. And then we can't actually move that of yours, Jim. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, I thought I was doing bad on roll 20. I'm like, I can't get it.
No.
Sorry. All right. There we go. Now breaking rocks with everyone else. So how do you think that happened? What do you think? We can just say what happens, or if you want, we can explore it in a scene. But
I think Wen should say what happens. Wen, pardon.
Yeah.
So the next. Sorry, go ahead. So the next guide is going to be Richard. So
awesome.
Richard will get to sort of ask questions if we want to explore that. So yeah. But or whatever we want to explore. But well, I guess what we know right now is that the governor got caught and is now a convict just like everyone else, and we can explore that or not as we see fit. And,
cool. Well, I was going to ask a question about Judge Waycox anyway, so maybe I will. Maybe I'll integrate that. So as the interim governor, what is Judge Waycox doing to, I guess, how is she trying to forge a relationship with the aliens, with the intelligent life?
Cool.
That is an interesting question. I'll never allow harm to come to them. Is Waycox's oath? Maybe do we want to do something that might potentially say that there's something about them being put in danger?
Well, I was thinking the way you phrased that question, I thought brought my oath in because now that I am governor, whatever I had been doing, I had more time to work to and now I've got all this ridiculous governor duties, and so now that I'm governor, I have less. I can't sneak out.
You're right. Yeah.
And pull strings.
Right, and I'm kind of also leaning on the fact that like the presence of the colony is itself, a thorn in the alien side in some way. So like you're kind of caught between trying to mitigate the harm that your office is kind of built on, I suppose. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think we come upon Judge Gil Waycox as she is let's see who she brought in. Oh man, I'm trying to figure out how goodness, I'm struggling to set the scene here.
Okay. Well,
I'm thinking I'm thinking a dark way you could take this is there's like an underground fight club and people are getting killed, and that's technically fewer resources that we all have to share amongst ourselves, and means the colony will stop growing so much, and that might be how she is refusing to allow harm. So she might be trying to support.
Oh man. So
It's an idea.
you're intentionally kind of tearing apart the colony further in order to keep the aliens coming to harm.
Keep us focused on internal conflict, and therefore less external conflict.
Yeah.
So one cool thing is that if it's not immediately obvious or we know an answer already and it doesn't look like it's going to be a scene between people, you can always just have a solo scene where you just describe a thing happening, if you want to do it that way. Yeah. Remember, you also have, we didn't fill them in, but you have Marines you can call on if you need to. And,
we got all sorts of NPCs. Yeah. I think we come upon I'm just gonna like quickly narrate it if it sounds good. Like, Judge Gil Waycox is sort of like taking these strides around her office, and she's got a little like hood, like eyeglass thing that she's watching scroll by, and someone is with her, forging a letter. Is anybody on here? We'd be working with her to forge a letter potentially?
Would be interesting if. Let me see. What's the
Or maybe it's just an NPC. It's okay.
Yeah, it could just be an NPC.
Because if it's in her office, then probably not these guys.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that can be your secretary.
Yeah. So my secretary is forging a letter, and it seems to be that she's basically forging a letter between like herself and Wend, suggesting that they are partnering where Hannah had failed or whatever, and but she's gonna let it slip into the hands of Orphea. So she sends some or slip it into the hands of some goon of the convicts who will discover this treachery. So she's gonna try to frame Wend for to turn her own people against her. I don't know if that works, so that could be a fun uncertainty. She's gonna try to stir the pot, protect. Yeah.
Do you want? Shall we go to the? Shall we go to the dice and try to?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me real quick take one more look for the sound control on that, just in case.
I could not find where you can turn that stuff off, unfortunately.
All right. Yeah, and the volume level I can control is just music, apparently.
You could do on OBS or something, like bring the volume all the way down whenever you have to roll.
Yeah, I can kill the...
kind of sucks, but...
I can for a moment. So for a moment, I'm going to kill all sound whilst we roll. And we'll
do not be alarmed.
Yes. So let's see. The guide of that scene is Richard, so Richard will get to decide what dice get rolled. So before I kill audio, let me know which dice you want to roll.
Let me just take a quick look. Okay.
And the way this works is it's a little bit of an odd thing. It's whatever is. It's not necessarily just whichever one is higher. It's the one that's higher than the one next.
And the one following it clockwise, right?
Yeah. So there's a so it's a kind of a thing about that. So if you want to let me know if you're going to try to roll it, just let me know before you do, and we'll do that. Otherwise, I'll just roll 2 for you.
Okay. How about either of those is interesting. How about let's roll the savagery and indulgence dice.
Okay. Do you want to give it a shot, or do you want me to do it?
I can't interact with them still.
Yeah, we can't. Only you can, which is good since you need to control.
Yeah, there's something going on there. All right. All right. One moment, and now a moment of silence. All right. Here we go. That was savagery and indulgence?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. I think they can still hear me, so I'm going to go ahead and roll that. And then I will roll that. And here we go. And we're back. So, savagery is currently highest. So we've got for an additional inspirational element, if all so that's resolving ties. Previous page. If the divine value for one is higher than the next, then that drive can be used to resolve the scene. Okay. And so it's just basically a question of I get to choose if that's the case, and there's only one case in which that's happening here, and that is savagery is higher than indulgence. So the result is savagery. So how would you interpret that? Is how do you think things go?
Yeah.
Goodness.
And that's actually, again, since Richard's the guide on the scene, it's actually up to the rest of us to decide that.
I see.
So this was for Darcy. How do you think this ends up?
I think that our darling Judge Gil Waycox thought she could pull one over on the vicious convicts, and instead gets herself brutally murdered.
All right.
Oh.
Well,
I think her ruse is immediately discovered, and a quick and sudden decision has been made. And so now we have cut off 2 of the large Hydra heads
We got
of the
open
authority.
rebellion right now. Like,
That's just my idea. I'm open to other ideas. I just feel like
no, I love it. That's great. There's how do you think it happens? How do you think they kill?
Finds her? Yeah.
Does someone just does it just the sun comes up one morning and someone goes into her office and discovers that and discovers her sitting there with a knife in her chest, something like that? Or?
I think she's been force ingested a whole bunch of that Nyborg.
Oh God.
Indeed.
Where'd that
Melted
come
from
from?
the inside into slag.
You OD on it. Oh
Yes,
God.
the governor pro tem was. Oh, the top of that authority ladder is really wobbly now.
Yep.
Chaos. Excellent. Probably that being the case, the captain of the Marines is probably in charge right now, which is fun. Okay.
Whoever that is.
Yeah. We can. Well, we'll figure that out if we need them. So next we come to Danny. Danny gets to ask a question.
So I want to. The question form gets me there. So
Okay.
can I set up a scenario and then we figure out the question from there?
Well, the scenario actually, the weird thing is the scenario is supposed to be decided by everyone else coming from the question, but you can tell us what you want, and we can sort of, we can totally, we can play with it.
Okay. So when Pardon's dying mother needs to leave this atmosphere, it's killing her. And Hannah there, even though she's not in the top anymore, has the way to get her out.
Okay. So, is the question about, oh yeah.
So will Pardon leave with his mother? With their mother?
Ooh.
That's interesting. Because that's.
Will they leave with them?
That's tasty. That's good. That's good. I think there are a number of things that can happen that'll challenge both oaths there. Weird thing is that it's the atmosphere's supposed to be good, strangely, but there's something probably maybe
not for her.
Not for her. No, maybe it's there's just enough of a difference that it's still killing her. Yeah.
Sorry, I think I missed a little bit of the beginning context. I caught the Pardon has a choice to make regarding somebody's mother, but what was the beginning context?
So when Pardon's mother is very sick and needs to leave the atmosphere, and Hannah knows how to get them out of there, except both have to go. Hannah's clearing away her competition.
Someone's
Love
it's going to require someone to go with her, and I think I think I have thoughts about that. If we want to do that, so this will be So what do you think, Darcy? Does Wend summon Hannah, or is this? How do you think this goes? How do you think they meet?
Let's see. I think what's a cool place we haven't been to that we sort of established as a neat location.
Let's see. Well, thus far we set up a bunch of rocks, little what is it? Slot canyons, and
got
down below there's
Loken's
a fighting ring.
Hermit cave.
Ooh.
cliff top stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
I love the hermit cave because this is something they would want no ears around for.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, they're meeting in an abandoned hermit cave.
Possibly at Lochran's or
Possibly,
Yeah.
it could be Lochran's hermit
wasn't
cave.
Lochran's-
Lochran is probably not present at that time, for whatever reason. But also because so that I don't have to play two people at once.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
But we can say that. We can say that they're out by, because it's like the one remote place that no one's going to hear them, and this is like maybe the they know that Lochran is off in town for what for however this is like the one day that he's on his supply run, which takes him like 10 hours to do because he's got to wheel his get his way down on the pulleys, and the ropes and pulleys down into town. So they're up there. Cool. So we're just meeting at a high place outside of a hut that's on a sort of a flat rock that comes down. The only way up and down here is through operating a winch that you get up here. Who arrived first?
Is it that Wend? I think Wend is there first,
Okay.
ideally, and is like waiting for Hannah, trying to get the sort of upper hand there. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So Hannah will. So you basically you can see her coming because there's a winch. You see her coming up on the winch, just doing the operating. Well, it's like there's a hand crank probably.
cool. Wend has a big long face with these gaunt cheekbones and a crap ton of facial tattoos. Hair done up in this really messy, all tied back with bits of, maybe with like little bits of crystal in them, sort of a decoration.
Oh, nice.
Very intense looking. Dylan, how is our underbelly treating you?
I think neither of us are going to get what we want, to tell you the truth. It didn't work out, and you should have taken the deal. You really should have.
Sorry to disappoint.
Well, still, there are things I can do from there to try to preserve things here. All right, what idea have you got now?
Well, in exchange for letting you live out your existence here and piddling about with what remains of your empire, I have a favor to ask of you. There is someone in this colony who needs to be gone, back to authority, homeland, back to civilization, back to everything we've all left behind. I know that you have the contacts and the resources and the sway to pull someone out of here, and I need you to use them.
Dare I ask what I might get in return?
Certainly you've sussed it out by now, Hannah. I've kept my secrets as best I can, but I can't imagine you came into this meeting without sussing out my goal.
I don't really have the same access that I used to, but there might be a way. This individual that needs to leave, I take it this is of the utmost importance.
It is time sensitive, and it takes precedence over other matters. Most certainly.
This is the kind of thing that can only be used once. How are they at flying?
Well, with anyone who would be pulling out someone such as yourself would have the good drugs to put you to sleep. They'll be fine once they're knocked out.
Let us
Also,
say,
chat reminded me of all these good locations that we had.
Oh,
The
yeah.
library, the bakery. Okay, we'll get to them.
oh,
I know. The Hermit Caves are great.
Corpse
well,
library, corpse
let us
bake.
say for a moment that I had access to a ship. A private vessel.
Ideal.
Now, the question being, though, that someone would need to fly her.
You have a private vessel here? Goodness, that's a secret you've kept close to your black little heart.
Well, as you say, you've doubtless studied my moves enough to know what's that I always have something prepared.
Point.
So the difficulty is that this obviously is not something that we want getting out. The existence of this vessel, obviously we can only it could only be used once, and I think it would be rather a little obvious if I suddenly go if I go out for it. So who's going to pilot it up if we have to knock her out? If we have to knock her out, or if you have to knock them out, you?
We've already taken out the poor heads of state on the authority side. Can you imagine what shambles would be left if I were to leave?
You know as well as I do that with what's left on the authority side, if that collapses, that will destroy everything. They need each other. And so if I leave, similar problem.
On the meta level, if anyone has an idea for like one of their other notables that could be a good fit for this, let me know. I'm open.
For being that second person, you mean?
I'm kind of wondering if maybe Danny should have us roll at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Which dice would you like us to roll?
I'm scrolling over that side.
Yeah, I think we're an immovable force and an unbreakable wall meeting.
Savagery and the other one, not indulgence.
Savagery and
servility.
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and kill the sound and roll the dice. All right. Okay, I've got... Ooh! Servility is... So here, okay, so we have two options. Danny, you have two options. You actually get to choose whether servility or savagery rules here, because servility is higher than savagery, but savagery is also higher than indulgence. So you get to pick.
Could you tell me like what servility is supposed to indicate in this context? I kind of get like savagery and indulgence,
I think maybe
but servility.
it's a question of like the in some ways it can sort of view the rule of authority I think is pretty much the case, and that the being servile is what gets the situation done.
Someone defers.
With a 5.
Yeah, it is a fun, but I mean, relatively speaking,
to whom, I guess,
they're
is
both
the
higher, so
Right.
Danny really gets to decide which one she wants to happen.
Servility.
Servility?
Mm-hmm.
So, what do we think that means in this context? Does this mean the Dimber Damber is going to go ahead and take the ship?
Yeah, I think being low on the totem pole now and the such, gonna know your place. So let me just go back the names.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah, I think despite being the head at one point, that Wen Pardon is going to win out on this one.
Okay.
Hannah's been duly convicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way for. Yeah, actually, that's a good interpretation too. Okay. All right. So, Hannah will fly the ship off and thus break her oath, since she's abandoning what she's built. And that's how that ends.
So we got more options to choose then, huh?
Yep. So that's so Hannah's no longer even there, and yeah, I need to like start drawing those strike through lines too. I'm seeing going on there. So yeah, that's very cool. So it's back around. It's back to me. Let me. Yes. Okay. Done. All right. And so let's see who's left. We've got. Let's see. I can't do a scene with Lochran, but let's see. We've got Dalker and Orphea and Shep and Wend. So, we need to see Orphea do something because we haven't seen. Orphea is the only one we haven't seen yet. And the authority is crumbling on this.
There's still the captain of the Marines.
Still the captain of the Marines.
NPCs.
And I have a feeling things are getting very tense.
Yeah, the state, as it were, consists completely of state-sanctioned violence.
So, what is Orphea? Okay, so here's the. I think we're gonna find out the answer to this pretty quickly. But the question is going to be, what will Orphea do when the captain of the Marines declares martial law? And sends Marines out to put a put a stop to all basically all runaway basically to hunt down all runaways put a stop to all vice.
That's a great one.
So it basically puts a lockdown on the colony and prevents
nice
people from getting things done. What does Orphea do?
Yeah.
And
I can tell you it's not going to be good. Jim, did you choose a broken oath option a minute ago?
I'm sorry?
For Hannah. When she
Hannah broke an oath.
abandoned
Hannah broke it. Yeah, Hannah broke her oath. She abandoned the colony.
So is somebody changing position or?
Oh, that's right. We have
a record change.
I utterly forgot. Yeah, I'm not following the rules.
It's okay. None of us are. So.
That's excellent.
This is a fun one.
So this is an excellent question. So this is going to reframe things because my character got bounced out, and actually, technically, Darcy should have had the opportunity also to change someone on the ladder or pick something else. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Since she got bounced out. So let's see. Let's see if this is just when someone breaks an oath, or if this is, Okay, no, it's just if someone. Oh, okay, that's if someone dies. Tell the player created the character claim a named but unknown. Basically, we can each claim a new notable. Anyone who's lost a notable, either due to losing an oath or dying, may make a new pick if they wish. However, I kind of right now like the idea that they're coming up just as needed, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
At least just for time, if nothing else.
That works for me.
But we can. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if you could tie some of these to the martial law question too.
Well, here's my thought, right?
Yeah.
Here's my thought. Why is Steam popping up for me? I'm going to close that. I think since I do get it looks like if someone dies, you don't actually change anything. But creating aside from I'm making notes on my counter here.
Sure.
Because game's gonna end when we have 5 of these things. We got 3 already. Because it's like a number of players plus 1 essentially. Since my character's oath broke though, I do get to change something. So what I think I'm going to do, just effectively to ramp up the conflict here, I'm going to actually move the Dimber Damber over to the governor's seat.
That makes
Nice.
sense. Yeah.
And the captain of the Marines is rebelling
shit.
That works.
against
Yeah.
it and trying to enact martial law to prevent that from happening.
So Wend has their boots up on the desk in the governor's
Nice.
house
Yeah,
and
so
library.
Orphea, totally. It's basically a
Yeah.
takeover at this point. And so effectively, Wend is in charge now. But Orphea is seeing this happen. The Marines getting ready to to tackle all this, and it's want to kind of see what Orphea does.
Yeah.
And we can bring in people to play Marines as necessary. Just
Totally.
Probably not either Danny or Darcy should do that.
Yeah. So how does Orphea respond to this?
Wend is definitely executing people in that death library. Like any Marine they come across.
Just putting them into a drawer, sliding it in.
Slam.
There was a suggestion earlier about it's like they get preserved first. There's
Yeah, I love that. It's like a morgue / corpse archive where
the library isn't physical but virtual, and that's where they store the imprint of the ones.
Preserve your
initial.
initial diversity so
Yeah.
you don't get that genetic distillation.
Oh shit, that's a good point. Okay, so how does Orphea respond to martial law being declared? And
Also, what does Orphea look like?
Orphea is like, I'm envisioning total like wild woman raised by wolves vibes at this
Cool.
point. So she's like a white person, but she's got all this like dust. Like I'm imagining it being like red gray dust, like in like just all over her face, every uncovered patch of skin. And so we probably see her like kind of on a dramatic shot from behind as she's like stalking back towards civilization from the like outer limits of the colony. And she gets lots of stares as she walks back in, because like, hey, who is this person and why does she look like that? But also you can't just walk around, there's a war going on. So she is going to approach. Oh, this is great too, because in her mind, Wend is on her side of the divide, right?
Right.
But Wend has claimed the governorship at this point, so there's kind of no. It's a catch-22. There's no non-authority option here. So, so she approaches Wend if she can. So how far does she get into the library when she's just trying to wordlessly walk into Wend's office?
As a bolter, definitely gets stopped by some stuff, by some folks. I think I'm wondering if Shep is one of my minions. Then even if generally you ran the vice dens, I might have everybody is kind of brought in closer, right? If a war's going on, maybe we're holed up in one of the few established buildings like this library that's kind of better made than most of the places. So Shep, would you be down with being one of like my guards, like amongst the other sort of convicts? Danny, would you be okay with if Shep is there?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, so I think there's a number. I think you get up to the outside of the building and get sort of stopped. There's sort of maybe some barricades.
Get, like, frisked or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm imagining Shep is like not getting their hands dirty. They're just like telling people like, go pat her down or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So some convict is like telling me to stop and patting me down, and
the convict is like half rock at this point, clearly like deeply messed
and
up.
Orphea is too. Is the thing is she's been living in the wake.
Yeah.
She's got I think she's probably got like her eyes look real weird at this point. She's got these like kind of bone ridges of rock. And so you see her face for the first time, and she's just like stops and like kind of placidly like raises her arms up to let them pet her down. Kind of expressionless, just like, fine, whatever, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
So
I think as long as you're,
Yeah, I don't have any like weapons or anything on me. Yeah, I don't probably have much of anything actually. So I come into the governor's office, I suppose. What's your reaction when I like just kind of clomp through the door?
Raised eyebrow, but sort of bemused.
Yeah, so Orphea kind of slowly gets a little closer to you to look at you, and she's looking at your face to kind of try and see whether you've got any of the signs of having taken.
Good question. None whatsoever. Yeah. It's sort of masked because I've got all these facial tattoos, and it's hard to get a good look at like unadorned skin.
Yeah.
Where it would, but you can see from the eye color, and like when you get closer, you can see the texture of the skin.
Sure.
Totally doesn't use any of the goods.
Yeah. Sure. So Orphea just kind of leans in. And she's like, "Huh." And she like waits for you to react, and then she says, "Have you ever seen them?"
I've seen a lot of people.
She like waves that away, and she's like, "No, them."
Every Nyborg riddled lag and sable here have said they've seen them crawling through the walls at night, visiting, the chambers of small children, sneaking up on you after a long night down in the dens. Mm-hmm. I've never seen any of it.
Yeah, and she like closes the distance and like probably like sits on your desk or something, because she like has totally like lost any concept of like personal space or like interacting with like objects in a normal way. So she just kind of sits there and she's like, "They don't come out of the walls, Governor. They are the walls."
Shep, what's your take?
I want to fuck with him.
All right, we know Shep's stance.
You wouldn't fuck with him?
Not those creatures. I gotta tell you, I get the creepy crawlies sometime. Like I do. There's, and I don't even do that shit. They're around.
Wen gets up and starts sort of walking around the room. This is mostly prefab, but I imagine there's some stuff that's made out of local rock material. Sure.
Yeah. So Orphea says, she like glances at Shep and then she's like, whatever. I'm concentrating on you, and she says, "You're living in a Tupperware container. You think you can survive for very long on their planet without talking to them?"
They haven't been exactly sending us their calling cards. Talk to them. They are the walls. Are they the Tupperware, or are they something I can reason with?
No, see, that's because you don't know how to ask.
Well, all right. Who are you exactly? And do you have the particular style of calligraphy I should use when I ask for their kind hospitality in this horrific land? Who are you, and what is it you know?
And she said, "Who are you?" She says, "Doesn't matter."
Well, that's for sure.
Come looking for us when you run out of food. And she like turns around and to leave.
That's really good. I feel like that's kind of a scene, unless that doesn't resolve enough for us. Certainly a mic drop moment.
Yeah, that's a good scene. We can call that scene, unless we want. I mean, unless something terrible happens on the way out, which we can decide. I mean, okay.
I think you've unsettled Wen. I think they are talking a big talk, but I think
You gotta do something.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's the thing that she wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we determined that in the scene. So Guide next goes around to Darcy to ask a question.
Oh, I gotta know what Professor Dalco's been up to. So with
Oh man.
with the wild shift in power structure / everything,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what would be something interesting that kind of maybe. So I'm looking at some of our oaths too.
Also, since we're at the point we're at in time, I would say totally edge this as hard as you can to threaten Docker one way or the other. That's I think that would be good.
I'm kind of angling for a role that ends up with like us trying to decide how these aliens decide to like how they respond if Wend or Docker or anyone tries to like engage them as a group. I'd be into seeing how that plays out.
I definitely want to see that too.
Do you want that to be your question, or how do you want to?
Is that enough to go off of? I'm almost thinking like having Professor in there and then angling it against somebody else's oath, because I kind of want to like keep that. So either like maybe Shep is like considers Dalker and like considers the idea that if we're going to reason with these beings, like that's a show of weakness, that we should just dominate them.
Yeah.
And so maybe the like is it like how does Shep take Professor Dalker's proposal regarding the aliens? Is that a start? And then we can set it at
Well, you can actually even
aliens, the natives.
Well, you can even narrate it a bit. Further is to see what. This is just a suggestion.
Yeah.
Like if you can have Shep doing something already to Docker. If you want, if you kind of want to.
Help me shape that.
Then
What
he's
would
sort
that
of
be?
deciding in this part of the question. Basically, it's like what happens when, or how does Shep take?
Yeah.
Basically, goes to see Docker in whatever the alien environment is and does X.
Yeah, I mean, if you want like a prompt on that, Danny, I think Docker is like taking things into their own hands as far as like they've kind of put their lab on their back and are trying to go talk to the aliens. You know, this is very Arrival at this point. So what does Shep do when they're like, oh shit, this person is gonna like.
Could you possibly have in your bag a lab a little baby alien, like a little rock forming?
Oh god, yeah, that's awesome.
And
Sweet.
Shep sees it and immediately thinks it's ridiculous that you have such thing and it needs to be destroyed.
Oh
Cool.
man, okay, yeah.
Is that? So do you remember those little like things, little jars where you drop the crystals in and then like they grow to like
They
these
grow?
little, like you have a little like baby, like you're starting to reason with them.
Sure.
They want to kill us. That's not us.
Do we catch you guys on the outskirts of town? Like, is Professor Dalker about to go?
Yeah,
to
did you come
commune
out
with them, or?
Yeah, did you come out to see me, or did you like bring me in to the?
I came out to see you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Sure. So we got like
So
a
maybe
weird
maybe Docker's
stuff.
like headed into the quarry or something to
sure. Yeah.
where they communicate with them.
Is there a nursery of them down there?
Oh man. Yeah, that'd be great.
Totally needs to be a nursery of them down there.
Okay.
Yeah. By which we mean just like a cave.
Yep.
What? So with little sproutlings.
Right.
What is this?
Or am I holding it, or are you holding it, or what's
Yeah,
the physical arrangement here?
there's more of them. I heard stories in the office, and they're sneaking up on people and they're watching people. We need napalm. We need to napalm this.
I like roll my eyes and like, they're not watching people. Does this look like it has eyes to you?
Sometimes.
Fair.
I'm like, listen, we don't have the organs to communicate using their language. I think I'm starting to figure out a way to express in their language, but if you start dropping bombs into the ravine, I'm just like, casting about hopelessly.
The scene changes a little as Shep takes out a knife and says, maybe you're the problem, and puts it to your throat.
And Docker like slowly raises their hands and like drops their bag on the ground, and they're like, Shep.
And Shep's hand's shaking a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jim, I think you should, Darcy, you should resolve it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
let's
want
go.
you to. So I choose to.
Yeah, you choose two of the things in the uncertainty triangle.
Oh, savagery and is indulgence related to? Indulgence might be kind of related to like the professor's like deep interest
Sure.
in that. That's almost an indulgence of theirs.
Yeah.
I could see indulgence, or maybe indulgence is the desire to kill. I think savagery and indulgence are the two.
All right. I shall roll those things. One
Quietly with
And
the
now
sound.
a moment of silence.
There should be a smooch and die.
That might be indulgence. I don't know.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
It turns into flirting, heavy flirting.
Yeah.
So it looks like you could go with either indulgence or servility here, Darcy. You get to choose.
Indulgence.
Okay. So
But I don't say what that means, right? I just pick the die and let
Yeah,
you two interpret
Typically
it.
not, but you're always welcome to make suggestions.
Well, you clearly know where my opinions lie, but let's see where this goes. There's a lot of emotions going on.
yeah, a lot of adrenaline happening. No, so I mean, Tucker thinks that you very well might kill them. What's going through Shep's head right now?
That wants to grab Professor by the back of the neck and go in for a kiss. We're gonna do it.
Go
Like,
ahead.
I mean, I don't know. As long as it's like consensual, we'll see.
Like-
Yeah, I mean, they're surprised. They're not expecting that, and they're still going to be confused. But yeah, I think they just kind of stand there like stock still for a second.
and the knife drops.
Mhm. Yeah, and then I think this is a great like pan out, because like they're making out on the edge of this canyon,
Yeah.
and then there's just there's some rocks moving behind them.
They're
not
babies.
Quite sure what they're gonna do.
Ooh.
That's so awesome. Do we think that does that break Shep's oath? Do you think?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I still love Shep, and Shep doesn't go away. It's just
No,
not
Shep
going to
doesn't
focus
go
on
away,
Shep.
but-
No. Love is weakness, right? So yeah, no. Oh, that's
Totally.
Oh,
Love it.
Yeah, he also didn't murder me, so
yeah.
I'm so curious about like what like pushed Shep over the edge, but I'm gonna be curious about a lot of things.
Yeah. It turns out it was love.
Just love all along.
Excellent. Okay, so now we have. I think we might have time to do one more short scene.
So we've lost an oath, and so do we change the
Yes,
drive?
that's
Do
right.
we move
Danny,
someone?
you get to you get to choose from the list. Which once again, you get to choose a notable changes position, a planetary survey or colonial record assessment changes for better or worse. So one of the letters changes that we picked out, or the drive changes. So one of those three.
I want the colonial to change, and I want the atmosphere to suddenly get fucking toxic as shit.
Awesome.
It is done.
Right.
That's clearly
Love
what the rocks in the garden were doing. They had enough.
Like, I thought you were going to come here to talk to us. Now you're just...
So
Yeah.
and now
it's
you're
like
just
a makeout central.
now you're just totally ignoring us by having by breeding next to us, which is this is not where.
Oh, the heart!
Perfect. No, this is not what this place is for. This is not
Take a
for
picture of that.
this is not for human breeding. This is for us. So
Ooh.
that means that Richard, you get to ask. I think that you get to ask the last question here, to sort of
Oh, man. Pressure.
Cool.
framing
Take
things
us out.
up.
Yeah. Let me take a look at the characters really quick. Notables who remain alive. Let's see. I'm torn between asking a question about Wend and a question about Lokrin.
Yeah.
Lokrin, because we haven't seen much of him.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Lachlan doesn't have to be important. But whatever.
That is true. Okay, why is Lokrin better suited to survive in this toxic atmosphere than anyone else?
Okay. Is this question perhaps asked in a way that might end up breaking his... might it be because he's killing somebody? Is that what we're trying to answer? All right. So let's do that.
Could be. Could be.
Is that it, or do you want to add any other things, any other details to how this is?
I mean, I think that part of it I will leave up to you. I think I would just
got it.
put in also there's this contingent of the society now that are half rock. So
Yeah.
what's going on?
I think actually, if you don't mind terribly, since this is the last scene, I'm just going to put a button on it this way. So this happens actually not long after the last scene that we saw, also out by the quarry. And Shep is either no longer there or not necessarily conscious, or maybe just sort of still, maybe Shep is still off to the side somewhere. But this is Docker mostly who sees this, just sort of sitting up, and then looks into the quarry, and strangely enough sees Lokrin coming, which is a little weird. Because it's wait, what's he doing down there? How's that old man even getting around down there? Lokrin has just sort of threadbare hair. You see, same old gray hair tied back in a ponytail, and the big sort of Coke bottle glasses, and the sort of white undershirt shirt. And you see him just sort of coming forward, and then he comes higher above the rise, and you see that he has legs of stone. Lokrin is walking.
It's a miracle. But the scary kind.
As you're just sort of starting to try to sit up, is seems to be carrying something, and as he just comes up, he disappears for a second, then comes up over the edge and says, sorry fella, it's their world now, and brings a pick down into your head.
Oh man. Yeah. Yep. That's awesome.
And I think that's it. I think that the rocks have reclaimed their world.
Yeah.
And Lokrin all the time was seeing to it. That's why he was away.
Love it.
Nice.
Yeah, it really was about the aliens.
Yes.
Aw.
That's exactly what I love that Orphea came in, just doom and portent and ominous warnings that were not heeded.
And I guess as a final question, what do we think happens to the last two? Well, we know what happens to Docker. We know that, and Lokrin broke his oath, so I think, basically for what's left, since I do get to move somebody or otherwise change a thing, as the atmosphere is becoming intolerable for everyone, as sort of in the last bit of the dying, I think it would be amusing if I move Orphea up to the Dimber Damber part of the ladder. Because there's all that's left.
Oh, man.
With that in mind, what do we think happens to what do we think happens to Windpard, and what do we think? But it's just a suggestion since we're kind of at the end here. What do we think happens to Windpard, and what do we think happens to Orphea?
Yeah.
This is not a play out question. This is just as a kind of a coda
epilogue.
here.
Yeah.
Does Windpard die in this atmosphere, like as the ship goes down?
There was a private ship, but somebody took that.
Yeah. Yeah, they see their mom just escaping, and they're like, shit. At least she got up.
I think the last we see of Wend is their self being they're slotted into one of those library caskets, and they're pulling themselves in.
Oh man!
Like a morgue.
Yeah. Oh man!
They're gonna die with this. They're gonna be preserved, and they're gonna die with this colony.
Yeah.
What's the last thing that we see of Orphea, do you think?
Oh man, I feel like I have to like up the spooky ante here still. Okay, what do we see Orphea doing? I mean, I think she, like, in some way, she and Lochran are like kind of built for this more than anybody else. I think they are like, she goes to find him maybe, or like they're in the final shot, and they're both like, it's from far enough away that you can like just kind of tell that they're not like human shaped anymore.
Yeah,
you know,
both become rock people.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah. Just silhouettes.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. That is cool. Well, that I think then brings us neatly to the end of this thing.
Yeah.
That was so awesome. I loved it. And I'm glad finally to have gotten a chance to play this game again. That was really cool. We got to see what happened to this doomed colony.
So doomed.
Yes. I'm gonna give let's see. I'm gonna give one more shout out here to Extra Life. Please one more time.
Yeah.
Put the if you would put the link in chat one more time to where to go.
I got it.
Cool. Yeah, just go and follow that. Should you wish to make I don't know where. Do we know where things are with the goal for that? Or
yeah, they are. We're $100 away from our final goal, but we're keeping that open until Tuesday because there are some people who are gonna donate $1. I think it's up to like $2 now or $3 for multiple people pledging this for every I voted selfie people post in the Cypher Unlimited Discord. So I'll post the link to the Discord here shortly. And if you voted by mail or if you voted early, go you. Also just post a selfie in the chat on the day of, and we'll be a little honor system about it. So we still may meet our goal, and we got really close to it during this game. So thank you so much to everybody who shared the link and helped out and donated. It's really, really cool. And I'm so glad I got to play this game with all of you. This was amazing.
Very cool. I had no idea where it was going to go, and it turned into a great story. It's like,
so good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go around and let everyone just sort of do their outros and sort of say how are you doing, what do you think of the game, and where can folks find you. And I think we already kind of started talking about what we thought of the game, but that's, so if you have any final thoughts, feel free to share them. Otherwise, where can folks find you, what's going on. And I think I went counterclockwise the first time, so I'm going to now go clockwise and start with Darcy.
Hello everybody. I feel really good about this game. We broke some people, we broke some hearts, and we had smooching and rock people. Oh my gosh, this is such a good game. So one of my favorite moments was maybe there was that mic drop moment. I think that was of Ophelia or Orphea coming in, and when she left that meeting, that was a very good moment for me. You can find me at Monty Cook Games, doing all sorts of things, so go follow the Monty Cook Games accounts. We are at Monty Cook Games, turns out, on all the places. So you can also find me tweeting about weird squeaky creatures and snails and horrible, lovely, squeaky things. in addition to many RPGs, at Darcy L. Ross in many other places. So DARCYLROSS. Things I'm doing right now are finishing up this Extra Life campaign. Very cool. We're really close to our goal. There's a sale going on right now at the MCG website where you can get cool things like the NPC deck that Jim used. And we are in the midst of a Kickstarter to reprint a really wild, surreal fantasy game called Invisible Sun. And I'd appreciate it if anyone checked that out. So those are my many, many plugs. Thank you, folks.
Yay. And Richard, same questions.
Yeah. I'm Richard. I'm a game designer and, as of recently, streamer. Thanks everybody for watching. #Flirt Squad. Thanks Jim for hosting and doing all the things. It was awesome playing with you, Danny and Darcy. Yeah, it's the first time I played with them, and it was delightful. So thank you guys. If you liked me as a role player, you can follow me on Twitch here, and if you like me as a random just guy talking shit in the corner, you can follow me on Twitter at NothingBotNet. Yeah, take it away.
Yay!
Yeah.
And finally, Danny.
I'm just so excited to find out you're from Rhode Island. I'm like, oh my gosh, this has to happen. We had to play game.
Yeah.
Yes. I am Danny. You can find me on Twitch here at Drunken Geekery, but most of my stuff is on Twitter at Imperial Scum. I'm quite the busy bee. I am on Tales of Blood and Stone, which is a Shadow of the Demon Lord podcast. It is dark as dark can be. So, you can't be faint of heart to listen to it, but I think it's worth a listen. The Greyhawk channel, representing the Greyhawkers here. I run a game on Tuesday nights called The Dying Kingdom. If you're familiar with Greyhawk, it takes place in the Great Kingdom, which is a really messed up place, and it's dark before the Greyhawk Wars. So that's Tuesday nights on the Greyhawk channel. And I also play on the Greyhawk channel on Sunday nights tonight in an epic game run by Shane, who created the channel. The Cyphercast with Jim. We stream every first Thursday of the month here on Twitch on this channel. And we talk about all things that are up in Monte Cook Games. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see what else is going on.
Yay!
Yeah, there's one more audience member I want to call out, who is Steve Seghetti, hopped in chat. That is one of the Bully Pulpit folks who came by. So if you were super excited about how Jim used those really neat cards to help get our play set up, there's also going to be a fiasco in a box sort of. I'm sure I'm misrepresenting it, but Fiasco, if you ever play that game, is really fantastic. And they're coming out with a version of it that kind of uses cards and makes it even easier and more fun to play. So looking forward to that. I don't know when it's coming, but I'm very eager to see it.
Yes, me too. Fiasco is like one of my favorite things ever, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I love Durance too. I so rarely get a chance to play it, and I'm so glad that now the opportunity is nigh. So it was awesome getting to play with everyone. I loved this game, and I just so enjoy. I think my favorite part of it was the kiss.
Aww.
It's always so cool to see things like that happening. It's neat to see things sort of shift when you don't expect it.
Slip that in there at the end.
Yeah.
Gotta have some happy endings.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. And so I think that now finally, just as for me, hi, I'm Jim Ryan. This is my channel. And in Meat Space, as they call it, I'm going to be at Mace next weekend, a convention here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So most of my regular streams, my video game streams, are probably not going to happen next weekend. Normally on Friday afternoons, Saturday mornings, I play video games. That is not going to happen next weekend. I will still, this Tuesday night, I will be again on Off the Table on that channel, playing my much beleaguered doctor character in their game of Urban Shadows, which is a lot of fun. But a week from today, we will once again have Durance, and something that I think that this game can support, and we're going to find out, is a wide variety of settings. As I mentioned earlier in this stream, it's the whole idea of it came from Australia, and in fact, in the back of the Durance book, they talk about how to do Australia as the location for the game. So 1 week from today, we're going to be setting this I'm going to have players here in a fantasy setting that I actually created with some friends of mine and Clint Black of Pinnacle on a podcast I used to do called Crucible of Realms, where we would build a new setting every episode, just sort of brainstorm one up. And that setting is called Perdition's Hold. It is on a world where magic has largely been outlawed because it involves treating with demons, and all of the people who do magic are sent to this prison colony, and in Perdition's Hold. And so we're going to see how things go running that in Durance. Week after that, I'm going to be using it to tackle an even more different setting, shall we say, and because I feel like, I looked at the ladder and I thought, I wonder what happens if one puts that up against a couple of vampire societies. So we're going to be playing with that closer to the end of the month. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I am Otherdoc, OTHERDOC, here on Twitch and on Twitter. And you can find my various links to my different podcasts that I've done and various other not video projects yet, but audio and writing projects on YesThatJim.com. I also actually have signups there for games that I run on Sundays. Here, the various one-shots. November is just about full right now. I can only take alternates right now for the games in November, but December is still pretty wide open. So if you want to go in and see what I'm running in December, feel free to come in and sign up. And there's a lot more info about all the games there and on the sign-up sheets. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been awesome. And I bid you all adieu. Take care. I'll see you all of a sudden.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is lovely.
Good night now.